Check, check, check. Check 1, 2, test. 1, 2. Test 1, 2, check 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, check 1, 2, 3. What the heck? Switch to the camera. I don't have audio. I don't have audio. Check 1, 2. Yeah, that's it, but I don't have audio.
What is Seminole saying?
Check 1, 2, 3.
Well, because you plugged into the HDMI, right?
Huh? What?
The laptop. Because you looking through at the laptop.
No, I'm taking the microphone. Check 1, 2, 3, and it's there. But I don't hear the audio in the laptop.
Yeah, you're not going to hear it because you're connected to the HDMI. You're not going to hear it from the output.
But no, not the output. But I'm on the stage, so I have to hear in the laptop.
Yeah, but what I'm saying because the HDMI also takes like an audio signal. So what I'm saying is, if you're not going to hear it, you're not going to hear it out that way. That's why I was going to check on my phone to see if it's
No, but I send in the signal, but it's the signal out. Doesn't check in that one. Let me try that one. Let me check something here. Playback.
What is seminolestate.edu?
Live dash video. Hello? Yeah, we have here audio. Okay. Okay.
State embraces diversity.
Everyone is welcome here.
No matter where you're from.
Australia, Puerto Rico,
Indonesia,
Colombia,
Pakistan,
Rhode Island,
New York,
Florida.
No matter your age, your race,
religion,
gender,
Or sexual orientation.
No matter your challenges.
no matter your background or life experiences, you are welcome here.
Welcome to Seminole State College. I can't wait to see your smiling faces around campus.
Welcome.
Vitame,
Ahla usahla.
bem-vindo,
Xin chào các bạn.
Caribou, bienvenidos.
We're happy you joined us.
At Sanford, Lake Mary.
Altamont Springs,
Oviedo.
At Heathrow.
Welcome.
You are now part of the Seminole State family.
You're important to us.
We're here for you.
Raleigh welcomes you too.
Seminole State embraces diversity.
Everyone is welcome here.
No matter where you're from.
Australia, Puerto Rico,
Indonesia,
Colombia,
Pakistan,
Rhode Island,
New York,
Florida.
No matter your age, your race,
religion,
gender,
Or sexual orientation.
No matter your challenges.
no matter your background or life experiences, you are welcome here.
Welcome to Seminole State College. I can't wait to see your smiling faces around campus.
Can you hear me? Oh, I don't like that. I don't like being able to hear myself. I said I don't like being able to hear myself. Is this what people hear all the time when I'm talking?
I can lie to you there. But maybe we can adjust it with the song in bass or stuff, but not that.
Yeah, right? Don't make me sound like a lounge singer. Yeah, I don't think you need it that loud, do you?
Huh?
I said, do you need it this loud to hear on the video?
No, we can lower from here.
We can lower the speaker.
Yeah, we can lower the speaker if you want.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I talk loud anyway, so I don't. Yeah, I don't think that we're gonna need it that loud.
Go ahead.
And I get excitable, and I start talking about your leadership philosophy and why it's important.
Okay, I put that one to 9.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, if people complain, then we can raise the volume from the speaker.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I think I think it'll be
I
fine.
think that very much try to concentrate the people that when the people come in here, that sitting first in this area.
Okay.
And then if they come in, then
Well, there's gonna be, I think, close to 30. Ooh, I don't like that. So is this just for this room? This isn't for the streaming, right?
Yeah, for the streaming too.
Oh, it is for. Okay, so I do have to wear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, if you don't want through the system, we can take out the speaker if you want. But you need to wear for the streaming.
Can you just turn it down a little bit, and then I'll ask them if they can't hear me, we can turn it back up.
Okay.
Because I know that I don't have to yell when I have a mic on, but I do, and so I might.
I put it very low.
Okay.
Put it down.
Yeah. No, that's good. And then I'll ask them if they can hear me, and if they can't, then we can just turn it up.
Yeah.
How you doing?
If you concentrate when people coming here first.
Yeah.
In the area first.
Okay.
And then if you move more people, then we have to sit there. But if not, you can see.
We'll try to get them over here.
Maybe that one here, maybe 10 here and 2 over there.
Okay. That'll probably be better for you anyway with the camera, right? So I'm not like going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, we can follow. The only thing is that for the camera, I have to give you maybe a sign. Let me see.
A sign?
You know, like a line. So let me see how you do. Oh, no, it's okay. You're okay. Because sometimes the background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but no, look okay.
I need you to make me look good.
Yeah, the problem was in the 185 that you are pretty much at the front of the projector, the hitting the face.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see black and very bright in your and the
Gotcha.
camera.
Okay.
Doesn't good of it, but okay. But here it's okay.
Thank you, Jaime.
So yeah, pretty much you can work and then but then you walk over there, you have to be careful with the speaker for the feedback.
I'm gonna try not to walk over there if I can help it. I'll probably stay like right around here because.
Yeah, you can stay up to here. We follow you with the camera, but
yeah.
And you can go over there, but you have to be careful with the speaker for the microphone.
Now I know it was Ken and Josh that were doing it yesterday, but some of the.
I can test the flash.
That's not good.
What?
No, I'm just saying you're trying to get it tested for next week. No, listen to you.
For evaluation, yeah.
Is it like all week?
I think that. You can
Yeah, make sure it's off.
Yeah, because you know.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Developing Your Leadership Philosophy with Sabrina Desher. This event is brought to you by the Employee Excellence Committee, and for those who are streaming online to the different campuses, I just want to let you know that we'll be starting in about 5 more minutes to allow others to arrive. Thank you very much. Good morning. I am Nilufar Gazmogatdam in the Admissions and Recruiting Department, and I'm representing your Employee Excellence Committee. The Employee Excellence Committee is pleased to bring you meaningful social engagements and exciting workshops. And today we have Sabrina Desher, who is the Manager of Employee Communications and Engagement, presenting on developing your leadership philosophy. Please help me welcome Ms. Desher.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is dangerous because every time somebody gives me a microphone, I want to sing. So there may be some of that, maybe. Can you all hear me okay? Because we do have a speaker, but I didn't want to hear myself talk. So you guys are okay? You can hear me? Okay. You guys at home? Awesome. If you are watching online, please make sure that you email hrevents@seminolestate.edu so that you can get your credit for this. Also, what we're going to do, just so you guys know, is if you have a question, we have a microphone, so just raise your hand and wait for somebody to come to you so that they can hear you at their home desk that they're sitting at, okay? So we want to be mindful of that. So welcome to Developing Your Leadership Philosophy. Thank you so much for coming. This is brought to you by, like Nell said, the Employee Excellence Committee. She's a member of the Employee Excellence Committee, and so is Janelle, our photographer in the back. So I want to thank them for all their hard work for this event. A lot of you know me, some of you don't. I'm the Manager of Communications and Employee Engagement, currently in Human Resources. I've been in that role for about 2 years, about as long as the position has existed. And hello. And before that, I was the coordinator of student life for 7 years over at the Oviedo campus. So leadership development, training development, it's in my blood. I love it. So I love doing things like that. So I'm always available if you guys want to come by and chat to do any kind of follow-up, especially on this topic. So today we're going to talk about developing your leadership philosophy. So a question for you guys. How many of you think you have a leadership philosophy? By show of hands. Yeah, that's what I was getting yesterday, like, yeah, probably, yeah. Well, actually, you all do. And so one of the things to know is whether or not you're aware of it and if other people are aware of it. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the importance of putting it down on paper and then sharing it with people, because it kind of helps you to identify it as well. So why is a leadership philosophy important? Well, it's your visual map for leading people and influencing the direction of your life. It helps identify your values, strengths, talents, and personal philosophy for leading people. It teaches you how to lead yourself so that you can lead others. And then you can teach others how to lead, which is important, right? It is your legacy, so it's what you're going to leave behind, and it's your why. It's why you do the things you do on a day-to-day basis, okay? So it's really important. So I want you to think of, because I had a couple of questions yesterday, well, what if I'm not currently a leader? We'll talk about that. What if I'm not interested in leading in the formal sense? I want you guys to think about this as, this is your life philosophy, because you're doing it every single day, no matter what capacity you're in. I had somebody tell me yesterday, well, I'm a parent, and that's like the ultimate leadership role, right? And I'm like, you're right, because you're influencing that next generation. So I want you to think about it this way. It applies to everyone, okay? So what if I don't lead? You're still needed as a follower, as a teammate, in life, helps you understand why you do what you do, so it'll help you appreciate others and what they do. It builds a foundation for you, and it helps in some cases to clarify your career path. So I'm a really big advocate of understanding who you are and why you do the things you do, because a lot of times it makes it a little easier to work with others and understanding why they do what they do. And so here, in your jobs every day, we spend a lot of time here. And so you're with your coworkers, they become almost like family, because you spend just as much time with them sometimes as you do your family. And so it's really important that we're learning about ourselves so that we can learn how to appreciate and work with others, and also in life, right? The family members and things like that too. So the formula I'm going to show you today, I developed it a few years ago. Like I said, when I was working with my students, we gave them a assignment and said, you need to develop your leadership philosophy. So a lot of them would come to me and say, how do you do that? So based on those conversations and those brainstorming sessions with them, I developed the formula we're going to talk about. But this is not just something that I came up with. There's a lot of information out on the web about developing your leadership philosophy. So I'm going to refer to a few people that you can go and search and look up if you want more information. So one of them is Deb Culver. And she said there are 3 defining aspects of a leadership philosophy, and I really like them, so I took them and wanted to reference them. She says it's personal. There's no right or wrong. This is really, really important, because you're going to see that your philosophy and your priorities may not be the same as other people's, and that's okay. Okay? So when you're developing it, I want you to think of it in terms of that. The other thing is it's something that you choose. So, and we talked about earlier, you have one already, but you're either making a conscious effort to clarify it, which it seems like you all are, you're here, to clarify it and share it with others, or you're making a conscious effort not to, okay? So it's very important to make sure you clarify and share. The other thing is it's meant to be a foundation. Your leadership philosophy provides clarity to guide decisions and focus everyday and responsibilities. So we talked a little bit about priorities and figuring out in life and your day-to-day activities what takes priority. And a lot of times, if you're served with two, either this or this, the priority that's most important is going to get the attention a lot of times. Now, sometimes we end up in circumstances where we have to pick one or the other, okay? And so that is still a priority. So sometimes we have to go to work versus hanging out with our family or things like that. So it doesn't make one or less the important. It's just this is guiding your this philosophy, the decisions you're making are guiding these decisions, okay? So here's the recipe or the formula. So what it is, it's your values, the quality you admire in others, your strengths and your passions will all equal your leadership philosophy. And we're going to break these down, and we're going to talk about how that'll go into developing your philosophy. So this is just a sample of my leadership philosophy. I have it up here too if you guys want to look at it afterwards. I have it posted in my office, so if you ever come by and visit me, come by and visit me. I like visitors. You'll see it hanging on my wall. Because it's something where when I'm getting into, and it's, you know, hanging in my house and things like that. So when you have everything coming at you, the world wants something, right? And we get overwhelmed. You can kind of go back to that and say, this is my philosophy, I developed this. I need to make a decision based on this. Okay, so it kind of helps you, like I said, a foundation or kind of a rock you can go back to. So values, that's the first piece of the puzzle. And so values are defined as relative worth, merit, or importance. These are things that you hold near and dear to your heart. And I always say, and I heard this in my master's program, values are the boss. These are the things that are dictating your decisions. So these are super important. Everybody has them. A lot of times people have not taken the time to write them down or identify them verbally. One of the things I used to do with my students is at the beginning of every semester, I would say, what are your 3 values? And we would go around in a circle and they would tell me what their 3 values were and what those values meant. Because you see, you have examples of values: family, education, honesty, trust, loyalty, and communication. So for some people, I say values, one of my top values is communication. And I talked to somebody yesterday, he's like, well, I don't see that as a value. Well, to me, it is a value. And it's making sure that there's follow-up. And when I send a text, responding to the text. And when I'm working in a team, hearing updates and things like that. That's why it's a value to me. Some people don't see that. So then it becomes a decision. How do you work with those people that don't share your values? Okay? And so this is a really big, important part of the puzzle. So what I'm going to have you do is on that piece of paper that you have, and if you're following along at home, you can just grab a scratch sheet of paper and do this. Go ahead and list up to 6 values that you hold near and dear to your heart. And as you can see up here, there's sample values if you need help kind of getting started. And if you can't get the 6, it's okay just to start with 3. I'll give you just one more minute if you need it. All right. So in case you guys can't read that, my values are family, education, honesty, communication, trust, and loyalty. Okay, so these are the values that I hold near and dear to my heart. All right, so qualities you admire in others. So sometimes people have a hard time identifying, like we're our own worst critic, right? So sometimes we have a hard time identifying maybe what we do well or things that we already know but we've never actually put on paper or said out loud. So one of the suggestions that I have is think of a leader that you really admire and the qualities that they have. And some of the things that you admire about them are things that you may see in yourself. And so that's what this list is for, is to think about what are some of those qualities that you admire that you would either like to exemplify or that you feel that you do already exemplify. Because a leadership philosophy, where it is the foundation and it's kind of the core of how you make your decisions, you know, it kind of ebbs and flows depending on where you are in your life. And so it's important sometimes to reevaluate what your philosophy is, where you're going, and if it's still true. Okay, so back when I was in college, I did a life philosophy, and it was about a page and a half. And then coming in as a professional, I was asked to do a philosophy again. And when I look at them side by side, because I still have the one I did in college, which was, 10 or 15 years ago. So when you look at them side by side, some of the core values still ring true, but there may be slightly different priorities or things that I don't necessarily think anymore, just from experience, situations, things like that. So looking at a leader that you admire, it's a good thing to look at them and say, what are some things that I admire about them? Do I exemplify them? Or is there something that they do that I need to become better at? So one of the things is I admire people who are really good at data analysis. That's not a huge strength of mine. It's necessary sometimes for the job that I do. And so I would like to put that as my philosophy is I'm interested in data, I can read data, things like that. And so that can even be something that you put up there as well. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes, I see. Nice firm nods. Fortunately, you guys can't tell me if it makes sense. But okay, so examples, we'll go to the next one. Humor, organization, assertive, confident, diplomatic, and positivity. Those are some examples of traits that you may admire in other people. And so it can be a person that you know, that you work with, that you know in your personal life, or it can be a famous person. I always use the example of Oprah. I feel like she's kind of safe. Everybody loves Oprah. She's very, I admire her because she's very driven, she's very motivated, she's very generous, and so I would love to be very motivated and driven. And so when we get to the next part, you'll see sometimes these things that you see and admire that you think you are or not, the people that know you will say, yes, you are. So go ahead and write 3 to 6 for your qualities of others. Okay, just a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. I think we're all good. We good to move on? Like the students. Yeah, maybe. All right. Okay, so the next piece of the formula is your strengths. So these are traits that you possess that you do well, okay? Sometimes people have a hard time identifying their strengths, so I tell them to ask the question, what are your natural talents? Or what do people compliment you on? Okay, for example, I get complimented a lot of times on how good of a public speaker I am. That comes very naturally to me. I have no problem getting up and talking in front of people. I take it for granted, but a lot of people will tell me they don't like to do that. And so that is a natural talent that I have and an example of a strength that I possess. So some other examples are detail-oriented, sense of humor, dedicated, hardworking, creative, and personable. So on your worksheet, you're going to list 3 to 6 strengths that you believe you possess. Top of the class. You can get up and present. All right, we all set? Yes, ready to move on. It's good, okay. All right, so actually what we're gonna do for the next one is we're gonna get into pairs and do an activity, because you guys didn't think you'd come to the Manager of Communication and Engagements workshop without getting engaging, right, in an activity. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you pick a partner, and so if you need to get up and move around, that's okay. Why are you looking at me like that? I know, I always joke about this. I would make the students do icebreakers and team builders, and then as soon as I sit in meetings and somebody wants to do it, I'm like, come on, why? So please pick a partner. It's okay. We're all friends here. Remember, we spent a lot of time at work. Well, you need 2. You only 2. It can only be 2. You got to pull you out of your comfort zone a little bit. Are you guys good? Okay. Does everybody have a partner? Do you want to participate, or are you good? And okay. She's going to be taking pictures, just so you guys know. Okay. Please, no pictures, please. No pictures, please. Okay. So for those of you who are watching online, you're still able to do this, but you're just going to have to do it on your own. Or if you have a buddy in your office with you or just right next door, you can go do it with them. So if that doesn't disrupt their work time. Anyway, I just feel like I have to say that. But anyway, so what you're going to do, I have to give credit to Dr. Scott Freeman because I got this activity from him from a workshop that I was just in with him. So, but I think that it's good to kind of get the juices flowing. And like I said, I don't think that we sit down a lot and think about like, oh, who am I? What are my values? What am I doing with my life? Because it's you get bogged down in the day-to-day, right? Driving the kids here, there, got to go to work, got to do this, got to help this student, have to help this employee. So we get really busy. We have hobbies, we have people that we have to take care of. And so stuff like that, this is really good. And so, in my opinion. And so what you're going to do with your partner, partner A is going to ask partner B, who are you? Partner B is going to respond. Okay, and then partner A is going to ask that question 11 more times. So you're asking the question 12 times total, okay? Just accept whatever answer they give you. You can answer however you describe who you are, okay? And then it's important that partner A does all 12 questions first and lets partner B answer. And then partner B, you ask partner A, okay? So you guys understand. So Neil, I'll say, who are you? And you'll respond with?
I am awkward.
Okay, and then awkward, great. And then so partner B will write that down, okay?
Note taken for you.
Right, so what I want you to do, one more instruction, and then I'll let you guys go get crazy, controlled crazy. That piece of paper on the back that's stapled, go ahead and pull that off. Yeah, go ahead and pull that off. Okay? Because at the end you're going to swap. Okay? So that you will, at the end, you will have your own words. Does that make sense? Groovy. Right on the list of reflection questions, right on the back of the list of reflection questions. Because at the end of the day, everybody will get them. Yep. So can I borrow this for now? This page that you have, the reflection questions, right on the back of that. Yeah? Nice firm? Or yes, yes. Okay, good. Okay, good. Just checking. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 10-ish minutes to do this, so I'll let you guys go now. All right, are we all done-ish? Got to at least 10-ish? Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down, in the middle. All right, fantastic. Okay, so make sure you swap so you have your own, okay? So tell me your reaction to that activity. You can just say it and I'll repeat it for our friends at home. Difficult halfway through? Okay.
I thought it was kind of fun.
Fun?
Things would pop forward, but then you want to second guess yourself, but it's all like, no, stick out.
Good, yeah. So things would pop forward and then you're like, oh, I don't know, but then you're like, yeah, just say it. Okay. Did any of you do it with somebody that you knew really well? Okay. Were they like giving you like affirmation or, yeah. Or one of the times I saw the activity be done, they had partners and then, you would get done with your list because it's hard not to talk if you know the person. And then afterwards they would be like, but you didn't say this or this or this or this. So the reason why we do this, because we're leading into passions, as far as what the next formula is it's kind of to get you thinking about, well, who are you? And really, how do you define that? Because some people will say, I am outgoing. And then other people will say, I'm a student success specialist. Okay, so neither one is right or wrong, but it's interesting to see what kind of comes to the surface for you and how you view things also. And I like what Teresa said because it's one of those things where you sort of want to hold back a little bit, but I think we tend to do that anyway. Especially think about, would you answer this differently if you're at home or with somebody you knew or in like your, so when it's at work and we all do have our different priorities and what we have to focus on as far as like our behaviors and personality and things like that versus the situations we're in. But when you're having an honest reflection period where you can just sit there and think, okay, how would I really answer this question without sort of censoring myself, right? That's how you get this. Because a lot of times that's what we'll do. Well, I don't think that's how that person sees me, or that's not what people. So it's really important to do things like this. And so this is just the beginning. I will encourage you guys to sit there and think about it when you have time on your own, because I think a lot of interesting things will come up for you and will help clarify some things. So as we go into what you're passionate about, okay, so this is stuff that you love to do. And if you have a hard time thinking about that, it would be if you could spend the rest of your life doing something for free, what would it be? Okay, that's your passion. What do you find yourself doing in your free time? So believe it or not, I do this type of stuff for free because I love it. Thank goodness I have a job that pays me to do it. Thank you, Seminole State College. But I wasn't always in this role, and so how I found out what I wanted to do or what my career path was to identify where am I spending my time. So this one involves a little out-of-the-box thinking as well, and so if you need help brainstorming, we can always follow up and talk about this, because some of the examples of things that people are passionate about are making a difference in the lives of others. Traveling, creating new things, teaching others, communication, education. Okay, so if I said that I was passionate about travel, but I don't necessarily travel in my job, okay? Not anywhere international. I wish though, man. Anybody watching, if you can make that happen, okay? So anyway, what you want to do is you want to think about, okay, so if I like to travel, what does that probably mean about me? Well, I'm open-minded, right? I like new things. I'm open to new experiences, learning new things. Just involved in other cultures and other ways of doing things. Like those are the kind of things, and that'll lead you to, okay, so why would that be important in my day-to-day life? Well, I need to be in a job that's going to let me create new things, do new things, meet new people, experience different types of people, okay? Because that's how that will translate if you're thinking about for your career path and also your life. Travel is a priority to me. So when it comes to looking for a career, I'm going to be interested in, do I have the flexibility to take time off and go do things? Well, we work here, we get spring break off. So I do a lot of my traveling over spring break. So what does it come down to? Priorities. Is that important to some of you? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But that's why the philosophy is good, because I know now that I need to be in a job that's going to allow me to travel, either on my free time or as part of work. And I know I need to be in a job that's going to help me to create new things. Okay, so that's how this all comes together as your philosophy. So again, some of the examples for passion is learning, leadership development, helping others, traveling, new projects, and inspiring others. So what I want you to do is take a couple minutes and write down what you're passionate about. So a lot of times when I would do this with the students, they'd say, I'm passionate about video games. Sure you are. So what about the video games does it excite you? So you can think about that too. So to start with, go ahead and write down anything that you're passionate about.
Can you go back to the questions?
Sure can. She asked me to go back to the questions. Just remember, there's no wrong answer. You can be passionate about a lot of things. Somebody told me they love gardening, soccer, dancing. I do like a good Zumba class myself. You all good? You guys have at least 3? All right. So now you have all these lists, and you have the who are you list. So if you look at all 3, are there any overlaps or similarities? Could there be? There could be. I know some people try to do different ones in each category, but a lot of times there's overlap. I would pay special attention to those ones that keep coming up for you, because I think that one's a priority. That one's probably really important to you. Okay, so another thing, so when we're looking at our philosophy, we can also look at quotes. Oh, here's the total, here it is, all there. You made me go back, see, you threw me out, jeez. Okay, add some flavor. So when you're looking at developing your leadership philosophy and you're trying really hard to think of something, think of a quote that you really like. Think about song lyrics, anything, poems, anything like that. And in that blank spot, if you have quotes, if you have song lyrics, anything that steps out to you, jot that down too, because that can help you with creating your leadership philosophy. My favorite quote is, life is not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. That's on my email now. If you email me, you'll see it on my signature. People noticed because when I moved over here, one of my colleagues over at Oviedo gave me a magnet that said this. Also, when I reached back out to my students about a year ago, because I was brainstorming ideas of workshops and things like that, I asked them the question, what do you remember most about me? What is something that stuck out to you when we were talking about, leadership and stuff like that? And a lot of them came back and said, I just remember the quote. So that's huge, because this directly aligns with what my philosophy is. So you guys can take a second if you want to jot down. Feel free to Google. If you need to Google, what's that song? I love, there's a Disney quote I do love. It's really long, but the last sentence is, keep moving forward. All right, on to the next. So putting it all together. So we have all these lists of qualities and traits. We have our quotes. We have all these cool things. So what I want you to think about as you start writing is, if you were leading a team and you had to explain what type of leader you are to your teammates, what would you say? Okay, so start thinking about that. So here's some way that you can format your leadership philosophy. You can either use paragraph form or bullet points. You can add in the quote if you'd like. This is an example of my leadership philosophy in bullet points. Inspire others to act in a positive way, take risks and jump at opportunities, lead yourself, lead others, teach others how to lead, teach others how to teach others how to lead. This is huge for me, especially being in training development. Like I said, I'm really big on learning about yourself so that you can lead others, and then teaching them how to lead, and then being able to let them teach others how to lead as well, because I feel like it's a domino effect. Focus on healthy living, encourage and give positive feedback to yourself and especially others. Be a visionary and plan the steps to get there. Continuous learning, be creative and try new things. Okay, so that's just a couple of things. And like I said, I have it up here, you can look at it. So you can do it in bullet points if that's easier for you, or you can do it in paragraph form. According to John Mertz, again, he did an article about developing your leadership philosophy. You break it down into 4 sections. There's the theory part, where you start the statement with, I believe, and then fill in the blank. There's the attitude part, my thoughts or words will. There's the principles, I will lead by or with, and then fill in the blank. And then behavior, I expect to blank in blank situations. So using my, Using my leadership philosophy, I did this, and I can come back to this page too. So I read a couple of things to you from my bullet points. So in paragraph form it says, I believe you must lead others I believe you must lead yourself before you can lead others. My thoughts will focus on holistic, healthy living, and my words will inspire others to live in a positive way. I will lead with an open mind and will solve problems in a creative way. I will develop the talent of my team and teach them about themselves so they can appreciate and work with others. I expect to be a visionary while remembering to stay positive in challenging situations. I expect to take risks and jump at new opportunities even if they are outside my comfort zone. Make sense? Okay. So 2 things that are interesting about this. I wrote this just recently. And so I told you about how I had the page and a half from when I was in college. I had the bullet points from a few years ago. This was done within the last couple of days. So it's interesting what bubbles to the top, okay, depending on where you're at in your journey. The other thing is, remember I said earlier about the qualities you admire in others? I admire people who take risks, calculated risks. Sometimes I have a hard time with that, but notice how that's still in my philosophy. I'm working on that. Okay, especially I think I'm good at jumping into new opportunities, but sometimes taking the risk part's a little fuzzy for me. So it's still there because that's a priority to me. I want to make that happen. So that's what it looks like in paragraph form. So remember we talked about it's really important that you identify your leadership philosophy for yourself and for others, and it's, according to Socrates, the way to gain a good reputation is to endeavor to be what you desire to appear. All right? Model the way, walk the talk, and again, doesn't have to be you as a leader. It can be you as a teammate, as a follower, as a parent, as a sibling, as a volunteer in an organization, okay? Because people are watching and are impacted by how you interact with them, okay? You are also. So that's a big piece for this. So living your philosophy, just some tips. Meet with a mentor, supervisor, or teammate to discuss. So if you have somebody that you trust that you can talk about this with, I strongly recommend it. If you are a supervisor, I strongly recommend sharing it with your team and encouraging them to create one as well. Frame it, hang it, look at it every day. Like I said, it's hanging in my office because it's sort of like the Northern Star. Brings you back to center, okay? Learn how to communicate it. So that's why we did it today. You already knew these things about yourself. Now you have it on paper. Now you have to learn how to tell people, okay? Model your philosophy through your day-to-day behaviors. Doesn't matter where you are. Make sure you're living your philosophy. Share it with your team, and then reevaluate it during your journey to make sure you're living and being who you want to be. So that's where that mentor comes in. Somebody you trust, you can go back to and say, am I doing this? Have things changed? Whatever you decide it is, just make sure that you are living it. And I think I put on here, make sure that you are open to feedback too. If that person you trust says yes or no, be willing to evaluate how you can adjust that, okay? Translating your philosophy to your career. So a lot of you may already be in your careers, maybe you're in jobs, but once you identify this sort of driving force in your life, it can help clear the path for you about where you want to go. And I would just say, be honest with yourself. Okay, so we kind of did it earlier in partners. Maybe you don't know that person. Maybe you want to hold back a little bit. If you do this on your own, be really honest with what comes up, because that's what's going to give you a clearly defined path. So think about your current role, what excites you, and what frustrates you. Guess what? The answers to those questions are directly related to what's on that paper. Okay? Does your career align with your philosophy? Yes. No. Okay? Does your next career align with your philosophy? So where are you trying to go? And does that align with this? So when you're strolling down the road of life, right? Things pop up and can be a distraction. So you have to ask yourself, is this going to directly align with where I want to go? Or do I need to refocus where I actually want to go? So there's opportunities that come up just as I've done my career path, and I've had to think, should I go for that opportunity because it sounds good right now? Or should I go for this other one because that's going to ultimately lead me where I want to go? And a lot of times, what does that depend on? Sometimes that depends on priorities and where you are in life. Sometimes it depends on which one's going to give me the salary. You know, it just depends on what's happening. But you get to decide if you're comfortable with that. You make the choice. So you just kind of decide, what do I need right now? And maybe if it's not directly aligning with my philosophy, maybe it'll give you some sort of resource to get you back to where you want to go. Does that make sense? So just identifying that. So a way to sort of research careers, if you have no idea kind of where you're heading or what you want to do, you can Google careers with your strengths. So I just, for fun, Googled careers for outgoing people. Acting popped up. Great. Love acting. And so if you're interested in being an actor, Google what it would take to be an actor. Okay, so that's kind of how you can do that research. Interview individuals in that area you think may align with your philosophy. If somebody you see at the college is doing what you are interested in doing, ask them if you can meet and talk to them a little bit about what they do, how they got there. The Career Development Center has a lot of resources. Human Resources has a lot of resources. Hey, how about that? So if you have questions or you're not sure, especially when it comes to your career path, come and talk to one of us. Like I said, I'm happy to have conversations and just get you where you're trying to go. So this is good for career stuff. Like I said, some of you guys might already be in where you'd like to be, and that's okay too. Remember, this is life in general. So any sort of situation that you are in. So to practice your leadership philosophy, you got it written down, you're ready. You can volunteer to chair a committee. You can ask to lead a staff meeting. Facilitate a book club. We just did Lean In. You guys can read any book, anytime, with your colleagues, okay? And you can facilitate that. Lead a volunteer project. If you're interested in volunteering out in the community, you want to get some friends together and go, that's a good way to also practice your philosophy. And like I said, be open to feedback that you get along the way. So there's a lot of other ways to practice your leadership philosophy. You're doing it right now. You do it when you walk out the door. But these are some things if you're looking for leadership experience you can do. If you're not interested in leadership positions, you just want to practice it within a team setting, you can do that as well. You do that as a colleague. You can do that as a member of committee. You can just volunteer at an organization. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of flex your leadership philosophy muscle, if you will. Okay? This is my contact information if you'd like to follow up. We have a little bit of time left. If anybody wants to stay and work on their philosophy, I'll be here. You can ask me questions or we can brainstorm together. If you want to take it with you and work on it on your own, that's fine too. This is my contact information if you want to follow up. I'm just here to brainstorm. It's your philosophy. If you want to bounce things off of me, I'm always happy to do that, okay? Anybody have any questions? Ready with the mic? No questions? Awesome. Well, you guys have a good day. Feel free to take more food. Am I off? Oh, I'm off? Okay. I was going to say something.